Well, a security camera took pictures of cars and vans entering the Trade Center garage before the explosion. Experts will examine that tape for a vehicle that seems to be weighted down by a heavy bomb. Friday's attack has brought the government's leading bomb experts to Lower Manhattan, but they still can't get to where they really need to go, to the underground blast site, until damaged walls and ceilings are shored up. And that could take days. Tonight, the police can only say it probably took more than one person to make and transport the bomb. The culprits apparently did their research because they hit a soft spot that knocked out all the building's vital systems.
The Twin Towers stand out like two beacons against the New York skyline, but that beauty hides the fact that there's a deep crater beneath the complex. Tonight, work goes on to repair the damage caused by Friday's bomb blast. Lou Young is there with the latest. Lou?
Well, Sue, the bomb that paralyzed the World Trade Center on Friday was likely so large it probably weighed down the vehicle that carried it to the underground parking garage. That assessment from federal investigators tonight as a new possible piece of evidence surfaces, and regular New Yorkers struggle with the explosion's aftermath. World Trade Center tenants continue to remove the files and equipment they need to resume their business tonight. It is clear to those who've been inside that normalcy is not around the corner. The area on West Street below the Twin Towers has become a massive staging area for repair crews and investigators. One group works at shoring up the damaged structure below ground, while the other works the periphery of the blast site, gathering evidence that could lead to a killer. Progress is apparently being made. At a briefing this afternoon, the feds and top police brass hesitated before telling the public there may be surveillance videotape of the car bomb as it entered the underground garage.
Apparently there is a videotape covering at least one of the entrances to the parking garage, apparently a tape of cars as they enter the garage.
In all this, police tell us tonight there are 2 people listed as missing, unaccounted for in the confusion following Friday's bomb blast.
We have just received information that another person has been reported missing, who was last seen at his place of employment at number 2 World Trade Center.
So it is possible there are bodies still inside the Trade Center, but we will not know for sure until perhaps the end of the week. So extensive is the damage. Shifting debris in the blast area today further complicated the process. Investigators tell News 4 they've been set back roughly 48 hours. And the president, visiting New Jersey today, promised help and called for courage.
I would plead with the American people and the good people of New York right now to keep your courage up, go on about your lives, and we're working as hard as we can to get to the bottom of this.
And the 2 missing workers inside the World Trade Center, last seen there, have been identified. 35-year-old Wilfredo Mercado of Brooklyn and 55-year-old King McKee of Harlem were last seen at the World Trade Center moments before the bomb went off. We're live at the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan. Lou Young, News 4 New York.
Lou, thank you.
Well, did law enforcement agencies have some sort of advance warning of the blast at the Trade Center? John Miller joins us now with some exclusive information. John?
Well, Chuck, that's just the question. Security at the World Trade Center might have been tighter if there had been a warning, but there may have been. There is a memo circulating that the Port Authority, which runs the World Trade Center, reportedly had a copy of. News 4 has learned that a month before the suspected car bombing of the World Trade Center, the New York City Police Department had information that a skyscraper would be the target of a terrorist bomb. A memo dated January 22nd said the department had received intelligence that the PFLP, or Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, planned to set off a bomb at a New York skyscraper if 400 Palestinians being held by Israel weren't released within 2 days. Senior police officials said they had no evidence that the Trade Center bombing was the result of that threat, and they could not tell us today whether the information was passed on to security officers at major buildings. But the FBI said it's reviewing all such threats.
On a constant basis, we're receiving threats to various places throughout the world, throughout the United States, that various groups are targeting them for terrorist incidents. And we'll be examining those, of course, very carefully now and trying to match them up with what happened at the World Trade Center.
Meanwhile, the FBI confirmed that it's investigating the possibility that the bombing may be linked to the upcoming trial of Khalid El-Jawari, which begins in Brooklyn on Thursday. The suspected Black September terrorist is charged with placing 4 car bombs in New York almost 20 years to the day before the suspected car bomb at the World Trade Center.
Only a possible connection, and it's one of the possibilities that we are considering.
Now, back to that warning memo. To keep things in perspective, there is no telling whether that information was factual or reliable. Still, right now in the police department, top brass are saying they've never seen the memo. It was given out to certain investigators after the bombing. Investigators who might have liked to have seen it before the bombing. Chuck, Sue?
John, thank you.
Well, 50,000 people who work at the World Trade Center are displaced, and they don't know when they'll be back in business. News 4's Mary Savella reports that some made a brief return today.
Memphis Security, please have identification available.
Trying to get to the office took on new meaning. Tens of thousands of people who work in the World Trade Towers were met by tight security.
My car was parked on level B2.
To retrieve personal belongings, office equipment, papers, they had to wait hours to get a pass, hours for an escort, but not enough time to prepare for the horror, like the blown-out walls in #1 World Trade where it adjoins the Vista Hotel.
I thought I was okay this morning coming back here, but seeing that hole again, I said, oh, maybe I shouldn't start working.
I followed a group of employees from a Taiwan bank and Chinese construction company upstairs. There were grim reminders everywhere. In the halls, there's soot-smeared cups, soot-smeared walls and doors. But tenants were just glad to get their papers to relocate. And this employee happy to retrieve his daughter's wedding gift. Have you missed her wedding, or?
Yeah, not missed.
No.
But just a little bit late.
Port Authority officials polled tenants and claimed that not one has threatened to move out of the World Trade Towers. But they were hard-pressed to say when they can move back. Could you just answer that part of the question? I've asked it 3 times now. What are your estimates now about getting the towers back in operation?
Okay, what we've been saying, because it's still not possible to firmly set a date, and we don't want to raise expectations in a way that we can't meet. I've been saying that it will be in excess of a week before we can get back in.
But Brezhnev said they can offer this for sure. Evacuation problems evident on Friday will be resolved. Mary Savello, News 4, New York.
And work crews spent a busy day at the Twin Towers assessing the damage from Friday's blast. Dave Browdy spent the day with some of them, and he joins us now from the newsroom. Dave?
Chuck, as I toured the towers going as high as the 104th floor, it was obvious there's plenty to be done. Tonight, they're continuing the work, going around the clock where necessary. Tonight at the Twin Towers, they're working overtime, trying to restore emergency communications and safety equipment that would allow the big buildings to be reopened. And while the electricians, plumbers, and masons work downstairs, in the smaller World Trade Center buildings, the ones that are open, some nervous employees spent a first working day after the big blast.
No heat, no hot water, but, you know, we got coats.
So you managed to get work done anyway?
Sure. Well, as normal as possible.
The PATH station was one of the locations hardest hit by the blast, but it was open in time for commuters. Some walked by the curtain behind which the blast damage was visible with hardly a second look.
Well, I think they put this place in order pretty quickly, but it sure shows a lot of signs of being bombed out.
During the day, the guys with hammers and nails had taken over.
We're now providing diesel generators for battery backup power for the telephone network system.
How much of a mess is this to get phones back in there? It's not too bad. We're just trying to keep the phones going what are in there now.
The mayor at a speech seemed proud of them and of those who'd helped in the rescue.
We really do respond. We don't take it lying down. We bounce back, and we help one another.
But proudest of all was one man who'd helped put these towers up.
The damage here was minimal compared to if it had been in any other building in the city of New York. If that had been the UN or any other 40 or 50-story building, it would have been a big hole in the ground.
For those worried about who's going to pay for all this, Port Authority officials say they are covered by insurance, and they'll pay for everything right down to the smoke damage cleanup caused to the tenant's workspace. Chuck, Sue?
Dave, thank you.
When News 4 continues, the bloody standoff continues in Waco, Texas. Federal agents shoot it out with a man who claims to be Jesus Christ.
And the boss is back. George Steinbrenner regains the helm of the Bronx Bombers.
I call the line. We call the line. I call the line.
Dial 1-800-347-DOLL and join in on the party. Live, exciting conversation with beautiful, interesting gals from all over America. The Party Line. It's better than ever before. You always have a friend to talk to when you call 1-800-347-DOLL. Only $2 per minute. Adults only.
Making a baby. Well, it used to be a private matter, but now it's becoming a family affair. Next Donahue, with her sister's egg, her husband's sperm, and her sister-in-law's womb, she got the baby she desperately wanted. She couldn't get pregnant or carry a baby, so she turned to her family for help. Can this be an alternative for other childless couples who thought adoption was their only hope? Having a baby on the family plan. Next Donahue.
Tomorrow at 4, only on WNBC 4 New York.
The bomb that jolted the World Trade Center did as much damage to the local economy as it did to the steel and glass. President Clinton has now declared New York City an economic disaster area, making low-interest loans available to affected businesses. Perry Peltz has more on the financial impact.
The fire may be out, but it certainly isn't business as usual at the World Trade Center. Certainly not for the businesses that line the connecting arcade. Mrs. Fields is closed, at least for the day.
We lost electricity, and because of this, all our stuff is being refrigerated, and because of this, we lost everything.
And for the stores that were not physically damaged by Friday's blast, some say they'll suffer from its economic impact.
We're kind of concerned that it's really not going to be the same, never going to be the same. I don't know who's afraid of it to come back. We don't really know.
Some of the business owners we spoke with say they're really not worried. They claim most of their business comes from people who are going to other buildings in the area.
I really don't know how it's going to affect us, but it seems that according to rush hour, the way it's going now, I mean, it looks like it's going to be all right.
Then there are the 350 companies doing business in either the first or second tower who cannot return to work. Some have decided they will temporarily relocate. The accounting firm Deloitte & Touche will move in with its uptown office, but at a big expense.
We've spent probably $2 million this weekend already, and while with the business interruption that we have here, it's going to be quite expensive for us. I have no idea in terms of how many millions of dollars, but it'll be quite expensive.
The Real Estate Board of New York is assisting companies with relocations. Perry Peltz, News 4, New York.
Governor Cuomo says so far, not one tenant at the World Trade Center is asked to get out of their lease.
As you know, at least 5 people died in Friday's bomb blast, and today a wake was held for one of them. Relatives and friends of Don Giovanni gathered in Valley Stream to pay their last respects. Giovanni was one of the victims of the deadly explosion. And in Seaford, a fruit basket left by another mourner sits in front of Monica Smith's home. She and her unborn child also died in the blast.
One of the happiest stories from Friday's Trade Towers explosion is in Brooklyn kindergarten youngsters stranded in an elevator for hours. Steve Dawson visited them back at school today as they try to erase those frightening memories.
It was a nice day, but a bomb was in the Twin Towers.
Elisa Collins' book is destined to be a bestseller at PS 95, where 2 kindergarten classes were trapped in the World Trade Center for 4.5 hours after Friday's explosion. As part of their therapy, the school children are being encouraged to talk about the experience.
When the smoke was coming, some people had smoke in their black in their face and some in the nose.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah, I had it in my nose.
And it's not just the children. Their parents are also receiving counseling.
We were all strong, you know, because we didn't want to show anything to the children, because we didn't want to start, even if we just started one child off, that would have been the end of it, you know.
But so far, the counselors say the kids are doing better than their parents. Some of their answers might really surprise you. Would you like to go back there again?
In the summertime, I think I am.
The summertime? Why the summertime?
So if there's a bomb, we can go on the roof, and if there's a bomb, we can go on the roof and it won't be that cold.
For the next couple of weeks, these children will be closely watched to make sure there's no lasting effects from being caught in the Twin Towers. But judging by their playtime today, the prognosis is pretty good.
But the kids and the teachers are safe. The end.
In Gravesend, Brooklyn, Steve Dawson, News 4, New York.
The kids will have show and tell for a long time to come.
As News 4 continues, President Clinton visits the Garden State and announces his plan to make it easier to pay off your student loan.
You don't have to be Irish to love Fryrish. Everyone enjoys a touch of the Irish when they eat choice corned beef by Fryrish. Look for quality Fryrish products in your fresh meat section.
Good boys play with toy trucks.
Bad boys play with monster trucks.
Good boys dream of flying.
Bad boys really fly.
So you be a good boy.
And come watch the bad boys run. It's the U.S. Hot Rod Monster 10. Gravedigger. Carolina Crusher.
And more. And while most people are just talking about the economy, we're doing something about it. Friday and Sunday, kids, $12.
Only $12.
Tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Nassau Coliseum.
Here's one time it doesn't matter who your neighbor is. Here's the other. Life's too short. Stop the hate.
As News 4's Ralph Penza reported exclusively last night, New York Attorney General Robert Abrams today formally called on the state's electric utilities to take another look at power lines located near hundreds of schools. Abrams acted after Ralph's special report on new findings linking electromagnetic fields with childhood leukemia. Those fields exist wherever electricity flows through wires. Today, Abrams told an opening news conference that if we don't look at this issue, we could be ignoring an unseen danger.
At this hour, FBI reinforcements and an elite hostage rescue team are at the compound of a religious cult in Waco, Texas, where a deadly standoff continues. 4 federal agents and 2 members of the cult, including a child, died in a shootout. The agents were trying to arrest cult leader David Koresh, who claims he's really Jesus Christ.
The main problem we had, I don't believe, is that we were outmaneuvered or outplanned. The problem we had is that we were outgunned.
One of those who died reportedly was a daughter of the cult leader.
There was rage and sorrow across Great Britain tonight as a murdered child was laid to rest. Hundreds of people came to little Jamie Bulger's funeral. 2 10-year-old boys are charged with kidnapping and murdering that 2-year-old in a case that has shocked the nation. And infrared pictures taken aboard U.S. transport planes show bundles of food and medicine being dropped over Bosnia. The aid was meant for starving Muslim refugees. Some of it is said to have gotten into the hands of Serbian troops.
Tight security today as President Clinton visited Rutgers University to outline his pilot project for rebuilding the country. There were bomb-sniffing dogs at the doors and extra Secret Service agents on hand because of the World Trade Center blast. President Clinton told 9,000 students his plan would allow them to pay off student loans or earn college credit through public service. The president says the project will cost the taxpayers about $15 million.
As we continue, Al Roker has the latest on the weather for us. Plus, we're going to meet a down-and-out guy who's become happy-go-lucky.
Bald? Thinning? Worried? Introducing Spray-On Hair in a Can, the answer to your prayers. Watch as all-in-one Spray-On Hair in a Can with Magic Sealer goes to work, filling and lengthening existing hair, making bald spots seem to disappear. It's incredible. Look what happens to these other men. Spray-On Hair in a Can is a scientific formulation that attaches to your own hair, even the lightest peach fuzz, to make new strands you can actually comb in style.
That is unbelievable.
Bald? Thinning? Worried? We got the answer. You saw these guys earlier when they were bald. Now look at all that hair. It's simply amazing. Spray-On Hair in a Can. Order now and never look bald again. Call this 800 number now. Use your credit card and get your Spray-On Hair in a Can for just $19.95. It comes in all colors. Send your check or money order to this address. Now you can look like you have a full, thick head of hair with amazing Spray-On Hair in a Can. Order now and never look bald again.
Lee Simonek of Chicago, Illinois is telling us about his itchy skin problem.
I do a lot of perspiring in my work. I have a tendency to itch if I use too much deodorant. And if I responded to the itch, then it became irritated. And the irritation became painful.
But Lee Simonek got relief using Triple Action Gold Bond Medicated Powder.
After about a moment or so, I began to feel the coolness coming on and a little relief from the itching, so it's rather nice. Gold Bond works for me.
Gold Bond's Triple Action is like 3 great powders in one. It has the absorbing action of powder, the medicating action of a proven itch fighter, and the drying action of zinc oxide. That's Triple Action Gold Bond.
It fits into my life, and it's something I want to continue using. No itch, no nothing, just perfect. It's giving me relief, which I enjoy very much. And that's why I vote for Gold Bond.
Try Triple Action Gold Bond Medicated Powder.
Weather must be okay because you're sitting next to us tonight.
I missed you guys.
I missed you too.
I'll tell you. Okay, now here's a quiz. coming up on Friday, what do you think we have to talk about?
Snow.
Yes! Bingo! Let's take a look, show you what's going on outside right now. Let's go to Times Square, and you'll see all high and dry there. Things looking good. Our current conditions, 36 degrees with a partly cloudy sky. Winds at this hour out of the west at 5. Relative humidity 46%, and the barometer holding steady. Conditions around our tri-state region as we peel them back. 32 White Plains. Morristown reporting a temperature at 11 o'clock of 28. Atlantic City 27. High today 43 and 22 for the low. Satellite view from 22,000 miles in space. You'll see that we've got clear skies on top of us, high pressure moving off the Atlantic coast. So we'll have a mild westerly flow of air tomorrow. Temperatures back up mid-40s to near 50 degrees. But here's the system we're watching in Texas, spreading ahead of it. A lot of rain, heavy showers and thunderstorms. Back behind it, some snow. As the system works its way toward us, look for thickening clouds tomorrow night, and by Thursday, rain. But we're expecting the system to reform out on the Atlantic coast. And when that happens, we're expecting that there could be some snow inland. Right now, we're not looking for a lot, but we got to keep an eye on this one because there's a lot of cold air available to it. So our forecast looks like this. For tonight, we're expecting temperatures kind of mild, back into the mid to upper teens, at least compared to the way they have been. Mid-20s to about 30 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Starting off the day tomorrow morning, partly sunny, upper teens to low 30s, and I think you'll like the rest of the day tomorrow, partly sunny skies to mostly sunny. Temperatures range from the mid-40s to near 50 degrees. And as far as that extended outlook is concerned, things looking pretty good as well. We have on Wednesday, sunshine, 48 degrees. Thursday, mix of rain and snow starting off as rain. Inland may mix with some snow. Friday, it's going to be a little trickier with temperatures hovering closer to freezing. We will keep you posted as we get closer. And then on Saturday, variably cloudy, chance of a snow flurry or two, and a temperature of 37 degrees. February's temperatures averaged almost 3 degrees colder than usual, so it's kind of a chilly month.
What's going to happen in March?
Well, it's come in like a lamb, so that means it goes out like an aardvark.
Aardvark.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Well, the boss is back at the helm of the Yankees. Len Berman is going to have George Steinbrenner's triumphant return, plus the rest of the day in sports when News 4 at 11 continues.
Did you know that...
Own your own home in New York's 5 boroughs? It needs repairs, serious repairs? Can't get a loan? At Neighborhood Housing Services of New York City, people like you decide on home repair loans. We offer low interest rates and arrange payments you can handle. NHS handles serious repairs. We've lent over $6 million to homeowners who can't qualify for bank loans, but who can and do repay. We lend to homeowners on fixed incomes, single parents, senior citizens, owners who meet certain income limits. NHS, a not-for-profit lender, restores not just homes, but neighborhoods and lives. For more information or to see if you qualify, call Neighborhood Housing Services at 212-255-2478.
I'm a good example that you can get AIDS from heterosexual sex.
Find out more about HIV, the virus that causes AIDS.
Well, I was mentioning snow, and that makes us think about Florida and spring training. And Len Berman, who's gone a wonderful assignment down there, and the day that George Steinbrenner makes his return. Hello, Len.
Chuck, 76 and sunny, but we were hard at work. Didn't have a chance to notice. And, of course, the return of George Steinbrenner. It wasn't quite the dramatic return we expected. No major announcements, no firings. In fact, his entry into the arena wasn't anything special either.
At 10:30, he was back, quietly walking into the complex. He was immediately mobbed by the media. He had planned something a lot more elaborate.
We had a helicopter all set. It was going to land, and out would step a Marilyn Monroe lookalike, not me. But it isn't the time for that. So, you know, it's not important what was planned. The important thing is that there are 5 people dead in New York, and the city's under a lot of stress, and it isn't the time to make fun.
How long have you been here now?
I've been here, seems like a day, but I think, what, about an hour? Half hour?
Have you fired anybody yet?
No, I can't get to them.
He spent a full hour in the parking lot before making it through the clubhouse and out of the dugout and onto the field to greet a couple of his high-profile players.
Hi, pal. Hiya, sir.
How are you?
I told him I'm glad you're here. All those days, well, not only we're from the same town. You got it. You're the buy of the free agent market.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
George, what about his beard? What about his beard?
Anyway, the way he hits, he can come in his underwear as far as I'm concerned.
And he spent a great deal of time with the fans who generally greeted him warmly.
Mr. Steinberg, can I get an autograph? All right.
Oh, thank you.
So now that he's back, is it only a matter of time before the old George returns as well?
He's very flamboyant, and I'm glad he's like that. I really am. He knows what he wants, and he wants to win.
Do you think all of his influence will be positive from here on out?
Well, I hope so. You never know, and really, you can't worry about it too much, I don't think. Anybody that's asked me, I've told them to basically take care of your business between the lines and try to handle everything else and not worry about it too much.
And tomorrow, Steinbrenner will address the team. So far in Yankee camp, everything is upbeat. Well, then again, he's only been back for 23 hours. College basketball tonight at the Garden. It was Syracuse and St. John's. St. John's in the home white against the Orangemen. The Redmen went on a 20-0 first-half run. Chanel Scott, 20 points and 10 rebounds. St. John's an easy 90-70 win. Kenny Anderson, the Nets guard, will be out at least 2 weeks with a broken bone in his left wrist. That new hockey team starting next year in the NHL in Anaheim, owned by Disney, they will be called the Mighty Ducks. Honest.
Black heard around the world. 1, 2, 3. See, it's going to work. This will work.
Makes you proud to be a hockey fan, doesn't it? And one final note. This comes from Mets camp tonight. As you know, Dwight Gooden has shown up with the bald look this year as he did when he was a rookie. So John Franco and others sported bald wigs to make fun of him. And even in Mets camp, it's nice to know the boss is on their minds as well. Everybody welcoming the boss back to baseball. That's the story from Fort Lauderdale tonight. See you tomorrow as well. Back to you.
Thank you, Len. When you come back from vacation, I can give you a little...
Would you do that?
Yeah, if you were bald. When we come back, a man who did very well with 2 quarters and a dream.
We know a store where you can get a crib,
a chest,
a bassinet. Giant discounts are what you get. The store is known as Coronet. High chairs, strollers, car seats, toys. Tons of goodies for girls and boys.
No talking orangutan, but please don't fret.
The store is known as Coronet. What baby needs, we've got for sure.
There ain't no store can show you more.
Open 7 days a week, you won't forget.
The store that's known as Coronet.
Coronet, 1111 Old Country Road in Westbury, Long Island.
Today's Boys and Girls Club is a lot more than just a gym.
It's sort of like a second home to most people.
Learn like what's right and wrong.
And there's a lot of support. There's many different things to do. Drawings and painting, and you never get bored. I just come in the Learning Center and do my homework.
And stay out of trouble.
They teach you many, many different skills. You shouldn't fight, you shouldn't argue, you should try to settle your differences.
If you use your mind, you can achieve anything that you want to do.
You have courage, self-esteem. It enriches many things in your life. I know I'm going to grow up to be somebody.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
An archaeologist.
I'd like to be a veterinarian. A basketball player. Myself.
I don't know.
Grow up to be somebody.
Every kid is proof positive the clubs work.
The club that gets results needs your help.
Call 1-800-854-CLUB and find out for yourself why the Boys and Girls Clubs of America are the positive place for kids.
Hello. If you're a low-income or unemployed woman who dreams of starting her own business, why not take the first step? Call New Directions, 212-688-1900.
If you've played the slots and never won, you just might want to cover your ears for this story. Go ahead. Bill Gallagher of Salt Lake City was out of work, but not out of luck. All it took was 50 cents and a friendly slot machine.
Rest at the Holy Name of Mary Church in his home.